2019. Thank you there, Councilman Smith. 2019 City Council meeting. You should have the minutes from the June 4th Committee of the Whole meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes carry. Are there any questions on the agenda for City Manager Buston?
Mayor, we do have one correction on the City Council agenda, item number 8E4. On the original item, the purchasing agency was incorrect. It said National Joint Powers Alliance. Actually, it should read the Sourcewell contract number, and you have that in front of you on your dais, so that with that correction is what you will be voting on this evening. Nothing else on that. The pricing and everything else is exactly the same. It's just that the purchasing agency was misrepresented.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions for City Manager Buston on that or any other items on the agenda? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Committee of the Whole is adjourned. And Lindsay.
Wait, Mayor, we still have about 2 minutes.
Excuse me. All right then, my watch is a little quick.
Sorry.
We'll get started right at 7 o'clock. We ready? Welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. Lindsay?
Dawson?
Here.
Dixon?
Here.
Griswold?
Here.
Hogan?
Here.
Parsons? Smith?
Present.
Taylor?
Here. Here.
Here. Would you please rise for the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Well, each and every year at this time, as we approach the July 4th holiday, we're so blessed in our community by having a loyal partner help provide a great family time for our whole community at Duck Sanford Park. And at this point in time, I'd like to ask Cisco King from Briggs & Stratton to come forward. How you doing, Cisco?
Doing good, doing good.
Would you like to say a few things for us, what you're doing?
Well, this is my last rodeo, so
I'm going to be retiring in August, but I actually interviewed a candidate today, and he asked me at the end, I said, do you have any questions? And he said, well, actually I have a few. He said, what's the most fun part of your job? And I said, well, if you want to go to city council meeting with me tonight, I'll show you. But that's probably the most fun part, and I did leave him. I said, if you wind up getting this job, this is one absolute you got to continue. You can forget most 99% of everything else I tell you, but one thing you need to continue is keep delivering that check every June. So, now seriously, at Briggs, we're proud that we can participate in this, and we do consider the city a partner, and y'all are a treasured partner, and y'all what make industry want to come here, and we appreciate it. And today we got a new plant manager, and he said, I told him we was going to have an HR meeting in July here. He said, why does everybody want to come to Auburn? And I said, if you've been to the other sites, you know. But I said, seriously, yeah, they like to come to the best. So that's it. But thank you.
Thank you, Cisco. Thank you, Briggs and Stratton. This is $10,000 that'll pay for our fireworks show. Good luck in retirement, man.
Thank you.
All right. I'll let you have that. Okay, if we could have the ladies from the Auburn High golf team please come forward. Hey, y'all, if y'all could just stand right over here for us. How y'all doing tonight? How you doing, Coach? We have a resolution here that we'd like to read. Whereas the City Council is pleased to honor Auburn City Schools, its faculty, staff, and students for their excellent achievements and contributions both inside and outside the classroom. And whereas the 2019 Auburn High School girls golf team recently won the 2019 Class 7A State Championship, finishing an outstanding season. And whereas this is their second consecutive and third overall state championship for the Auburn High School girls golf team. And whereas graduating seniors Elizabeth Bruce won the 2019 Auburn Invitational, Vestavia's Hike on the Hills, won the Alabama versus Georgia Battle of the Border Tournament, won low medalists at the sub-state, and won the individual state championship title. And whereas sophomore Morgan Jones won the Yellow Jacket Invitational, won low medalists at sectionals, and won state runner-up title for the second year in a row. Whereas the team went on to win the 7A Section 2 title for the third time in a row, the 7A South Sub-State for the third time in a row, and finally took the 7A title for the second year. And whereas this team has consistently demonstrated superior athleticism and teamwork, skipped a line here. Whereas the championship team consists of Amanda Byers, Lola Grossman, Morgan Jones, and Elizabeth Bruce. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Auburn, Alabama, that the council hereby recognizes and formally congratulates the players and coaches from the 2019 Auburn High School girls golf team for their outstanding achievements and their exemplary efforts in representing the Auburn City Schools and the City of Auburn. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting presented to head coach Adam Byrd and the team, adopted and approved by the City of Auburn, Alabama, this 18th day of June. Do I have a motion? And a second.
Second.
All in favor? Sounds like a winner. Congratulations to being state champions.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd just like to thank our Heavenly Father for this opportunity and this blessing. I'd also like to thank our principals, wonderful principals at Auburn High School and in our Auburn City system. Our players and our parents of this team really made it work. So it wasn't just, it was an entire community and team effort for it, and we look forward to more and everything that they've helped grow this team to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, ladies. Okay, if I could have Coach D and some of his athletes come forward with the girls and boys track program at Auburn High School. If y'all just stand right over here. Fine, my man. How you doing? The City Council is pleased to honor Auburn City Schools, its faculty and staff and students for their excellent achievements and contributions both inside and outside the classroom. You've heard that before. And whereas members of the 2019 Auburn High School girls and boys track team broke state and school records and obtained state championship titles. Samantha Rogers won 3 gold medals at the state meet in the girls' 1,600 meters, 3,200 meters, and 4x800 meter relay. And whereas the girls' 4x800 meter relay consisted of members Sarah Pacer, Harper McGowan, Sanji Lincoln Velez, and Samantha Rogers ran a time of 9:24.43, obtaining for them the title of state champions as well as setting a new school record. And whereas Shania Holly is now the back-to-back 7A state champion in girls javelin and broke the state record on the last throw of her high school career, reaching 139 feet and 11 inches. And whereas Brandon Crum is now the back-to-back 7A state champion in boys javelin with a throw of reaching 189 feet and 6 inches. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of Auburn, Alabama, that the council hereby recognizes and formally congratulates the coaches and these players from the 2019 Auburn High School varsity girls and boys track teams for their outstanding achievements and their exemplary efforts in representing Auburn City Schools and the city of Auburn. And further be the resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting and presented to the one and only Coach D and his team. Adopted and approved by the City Council of the City of Auburn, Alabama on this 18th day of June 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Coach, and thank all of y'all for y'all's great work and your hard efforts in representing our community.
In between pictures.
Again, just to echo Coach, thank the Lord for being able to be here. Thank you guys for inviting us. This wouldn't be possible without our coaching staff. Coach Benitez does a great job with our distance kids. He orchestrated and putting that relay team together. Did a great job working with those kids all season long. Olivia Tofani, assistant head coach, my backbone, helped us out all this year. State track meet is really grueling. It's 3 days of competition. You know, a lot of times when you tell your coworkers you're going to go shores for a couple of days, they think it's a vacation, but it's not. You know, it's a lot of long nights. You know, getting the kids ready and prepared to compete every day. Our boys team finished 4th overall. Girls team finished 2nd overall. So it was a great meet for Auburn High School. Love our administration. Great AD. We got everything we can ask for in Auburn. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Before we move on, I just want to make a couple of announcements. You had on your agenda Philip Bozeman from the Auburn High tennis team. He was not able to be with us tonight, but we'll hopefully bring him back later and recognize him. He had a great season as well and is certainly worth bragging about. Bob Parsons is not with us tonight because he's being recognized by his employer as basically the employer of the month. So he's receiving a recognition at the City of Opelika City Council meeting and might be with us here tonight, but we're certainly happy for him for his recognition. This lady up front that keeps this meeting in order each and every week and provides the great minutes that we follow and can see what the order of our business is and recall what we did each and every week. We're proud to say to you that she's going to be a new mom in December. So she'll be having her second son in December. So good luck and God bless you with that. Thank you, Lindsay. You do a great job for all of us. Last week, there was a number of us, 5 of us, that went through Green Dot training. I would just say to you, our community, that it was very purposeful and very meaningful. It was a great couple hours we spent together. And I would encourage any of you, if you have an opportunity to avail yourself to that training or that understanding, I would encourage you to do it. It's a great program that's primarily on campus, and we say to our community that we think it's important as well, and I think some other council members might say something about that as well. Task force, I just want to give a quick reminder, and I just want to let you know that just due to some personal situations in my life, some of our efforts have gotten a little bit stagnated, and that's really on me, but we'll get back running here a little faster. The Diversity and Inclusion Task Force meets on Thursday evening. The Student Housing Task Force will be meeting again soon, and one of the primary things I'm asking the staff to help me with right now is to create a complete inventory of student housing in this city. That's a big task. It's fluid. There's a lot there. But we're going to try to get it done because we feel like it's important for us to be able to look at what is the exact inventory of student housing in our community. And then short-term rentals, we will have a meeting soon with myself and staff. And after that meeting, we'll bring the task force back together and we'll plan for the future. And what that'll basically come down to is we'll get together and start putting our heads together and putting some ideas on paper that we can present to the Planning Commission to let them begin to develop an ordinance. All of these things will be a little bit further along if I didn't have some things going on in my personal life. So I just want to let y'all know that's why that's happened, but we're going to get back on it here real soon. Is there any other announcements from the council?
Yes, I have an announcement. Last Monday, Ward 1 has created a Northwest Auburn Task Force, and that first meeting will be Monday, July the 15th at the Boykin Community Center at 6 p.m.
Anyone else?
Can I ask a question about this? Is this the time?
This is just a time for announcements right now, Connie. Yeah. Any other announcements from council? Any other thoughts, comments? Okay.
Mayor, I'd just like to echo what you said about Green Dot. I really appreciated the opportunity. I know that Safe Harbor and the folks over there on campus are faced with a gargantuan task that they're taking proactive steps and helping train bystanders to be involved to minimize potential violence, whether that's domestic or alcohol related or all kinds of things. It was a great training opportunity, but it also was a good encouragement to say we as a council can be leaders and say kind of to change culture and to be a part of a change of culture that can be positive and proactive in keeping Auburn to be safe for all its citizens.
Good. Thank you, Brett. Anyone else from the council? Okay. Auburn University Communications.
Good evening, council. How are y'all?
Good.
Hey, first, I would like to apologize as I was walking up last week for my hard of hearing. Just as kind of a friendly reminder to everyone, my name is Jack Renfro, and I'm serving as SGA's Director of City Relations. Moving into our Auburn University student announcements for the week, I would like to thank Councilman Griswold and his wife for attending Camp War Eagle, our Camp War Eagle pepper rally 2 weeks ago. Some more opportunities that y'all might have to attend those coming up would be this Thursday, June 20th, the following Monday, June 24th, and next Thursday, June 27th. Just some reminders on those. They go from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Please enter through Gate 5 of Jordan Hare and wear your Auburn game day attire. I'm happy to continue our student spotlight segment this week. I have selected Sophomore Samantha Jeter, she's a marketing major from Dothan, Alabama. She is currently serving as an assistant director of Family Friday for SGA. Family Fridays is a great program that takes place the first of every month, and we just kind of try to bring together the entire Auburn family. So those are really neat. She also serves with Brighten Up Buttercup. It's an organization that kind of in the next coming months, they will be going around and visiting sick children in the community and offering face paintings to just kind of brighten their day. So really neat that she's involved with that as well. That concludes the university announcements for this week. If y'all ever need anything from me, please let me know, and War Eagle.
Jack.
Also, one more thing. I don't know if y'all saw the rain delay with the baseball game, but if y'all could help cheer us on at 9 p.m. when that resumes, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you all.
All right, bud. Okay, at this time is citizens' communications on items on the agenda. This is just for items on the agenda. Please come forward and give your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes. Just items on the agenda.
O.B. Jackson, 814 North College. I want to correct a statement that I made this last Monday concerning the amount of funds that had been spent at the Borkin Community Center out of the CDGB monies that was injected into it. I learned that it wasn't 2/3, but it was very close to a half combined for maybe 3 years. I'm still looking into it. I have been charged to look into the funds that has been spent throughout the Northwest Auburn area as being a part of that, wanting to be, I guess, part. We haven't officially chosen members of that task force, and hoping that we can address some of the critical issues that we have in Northwest Auburn, such as housing and transportation and several other things. But this evening, I reviewed the funds that's been spent over the last 5 years. And I looked at our charts, and I see that there was a sum total of $592,783. That amount of money has been spent over the last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, I can't say that I've been active in Northwest Auburn. I actually don't even live in Northwest Auburn, but I own properties in Northwest Auburn. So it greatly concerns me that my friends and my property values are dropping. If I have a house that's built in Northwest Auburn and it's 1,000 square feet, I'm given almost a $50 to $75 per foot less than if I built in Moore's Mill or one of the other places and throughout Auburn. And that's not fair. And the appraisals say, well, we don't have anything that we can use for comps. And we have a dire need. So I see over the last 5 years where the funds have been spent. And I want to address one particular instance. I have here tonight with me a lifetime friend of our ex-mayor and myself for the last 50 years. Minister Freddie Williams will come before you and he'll tell you about a situation that happened with CDGB funds that he is seeking an answer for, has made a request, a public request, about $15,000 that came out of this budget. It was addressed last Monday. We have our mayor's signature, our ex-council person, Sister Verlinda White, asked her brother, Fred, Minister Williams, and her brother, Jerome, that is terminally ill, why they should pay her $5,000 per person. And how did the $15,000 get paid? So in following the money trail, over the last 6 months, I walked in Mr. Davis' office with him. I said, this is where you start. Mr. Davis says, no, go to City Hall, put in a request. He didn't know quite how to do it online, so he did. And as of today, as of that meeting, prior to our meeting 2 weeks ago, no one could tell him how $15,000 got paid, and it just so happened to get paid right at the election time when you shouldn't have anything unethically done in terms of funds. Couldn't owe the city anything of that nature. So he's going to address you guys and ask for your help in finding out how $15,000 get paid out of CDUB funds, and nobody know who paid it. Thank you, and I compliment Mr. Davis, he's not here tonight, on taking up the torch, and the people have great high expectations for him. We empathize with Mr. Todd White and his most recent illness, but we are looking for answers to our problems in Northwest Auburn. Thank you all.
Jim, the number that Mr. Jackson just presented, could you clarify that?
That's the number that's in the agenda for this evening. That is a one-year allocation of CDBG funds from the federal government. And we get about that much every year, so of CDBG funds. So over the last 5 years, there's 5 times that much money, pretty much $500,000 per year of CDBG funds. But that's not the only money that is spent in Northwest Auburn. There is a considerable amount of general fund money in the millions of dollars that has been spent in Northwest Auburn. Staff is putting together for council. I have sent you previously all of the projects. Staff right now is putting together a total amount that has been spent in Northwest Auburn over the last 10 years. And we hope to get that to you at the budget hearing.
Thank you, Jim. Who will be next?
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Freddie Williams. How are you, Mayor Anderson? How are you?
Doing
been
fine,
a long
Freddie.
time
How you doing,
since I've
man?
seen you. It's been a long time. But
Wow.
while Bill Ham was mayor down here, I see you got most of your hair. He lost all his. So I hope you don't experience that. But anyway, I just, to make a long story short, my mother received some of that grant money. I think it's a good thing to help the city of Auburn, people that's underprivileged, to keep their homes and things up. So that grant money is a good thing for the community. I'm glad to see it's coming. But what we're trying to do specifically, I would just like to address an issue that we have with settling my mother's estate. We need to find out how that loan was satisfied, because attorneys that we're dealing with wants to know. And me and my brother don't have no idea who satisfied that loan, or even if it was forgiven. We like to find that out. And we are hoping that the city could be transparent in helping us find out how that was done, and we really would appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So you and Mr. Jackson went to see Mr. Davis. It's the first, Freddie, is that the first time y'all inquired about that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I also filled a request out. It's a form that you have to fill out requesting that information.
Okay.
And they hadn't got back with me yet on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. City Manager's Communications.
Under City Manager's Communication this evening, we have item 7A1 is the announcement of one vacancy for an unexpired term on the Library Board. The term begins immediately and ends April 14th, 2021. This appointment will be made at the July 16th regular City Council meeting. Item 7A2 is the announcement of 2 vacancies on the Green Space Advisory Board. The term begins August 8th, 2019 and ends August 7th, 2023. This appointment will be made at the July 16th regular City Council meeting. I'd like to point out that anybody that has applied for any board or commission in the past through our new system, all of their information is already saved in the system, and they have an account already created. So if they go in to apply again, so anyone that may have applied for previously in the recent past for the library vacancy, they can go back to the system, simply log back in, make sure all of their information is current, and then just submit that application again. So it's a very easy process. They don't have to fill everything out again from scratch. Once they create an account, most of their information stays in there.
But they do need to take the step to go online.
They do need to go and apply again.
Thank you, Jim.
Our next order of business this evening is the consent agenda. Does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda and deal with that item individually?
Yes, 8E5.
Did you say E?
E. Yeah, 8E5.
E.
Is there anything else?
Is that the Fort Benning?
Yes.
Okay.
And also 8D2. So what they put?
8B2?
D.
D as in dog, 2.
Delta. Okay.
Jim, if we could go ahead and take the individual items first before we approve the consent agenda as a whole, if that's all right.
Sure. So item 8D2 are 2 speed humps on Clark Avenue.
Okay, I saw the map where the speed bumps, they're going now, and I can't find it right now but I did look at it. And I just want to see one of the speed bumps. Is it on the hill? Are y'all putting it on the hill on Clark? Or?
Let me ask our city engineer to address that.
I don't think you have if you come from, coming from Donahue, it's a little bit flat just past Edgewood. And then when you pass Spencer, you go down a hill. But I don't think they're on the top of the hill.
Okay. So it's not at the top of the hill. Is it in that flat?
I'm driving the road in my head.
Cause see, when you coming off of Spencer and you turning on to Clark, you're going down a hill, then you're on a flat, and then you're going up the hill. So I was just trying to figure out where this speed bump is.
It's about middle of the way from Spencer to Lynn as you come down the hill as you're going up the hill. So it's not quite at the top of the hill before you get to Lynn. Okay. If you turn.
I was just trying to make sure that that's safe, because if you're going down the hill, you're sort of like at a certain speed. So I guess I can meet somebody out there so they can show me what they're talking about, putting this speed bump. Now, I understand the one coming off of Edgewood, but that one right there, that may be an issue.
Okay, we can mark the location.
Okay.
We'll take a look at it.
All right, thank you.
Questions? No, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item 8E5 is the United States Army in Fort Benning with other agencies in the area agreeing to a mutual aid agreement.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Jim, I just wanted you to simply explain to our audience and our citizens what this is, just a brief summary.
So in the past, we have had an informal agreement with Fort Benning, Smith Station, Opelika, the area agencies, that should something happen in our area, we would help. And they would help us. So it'd be, if something happens at Fort Benning, we would go and be available to help them with whatever issue. They would come to and help us with issues should we have an issue. The new commandant, I believe, of Fort Benning wanted to formalize this agreement more so than just a informal agreement. And so they had a signing ceremony here recently on Fort Benning's campus where they made a big deal of this cooperative effort. Now, they did it before we had the opportunity to bring this to you, but it is agreeing, they would agree to help us, we would agree to help them in like tornado events, any type of event that needs a cooperative effort among the various agencies.
Thank you, Jim. Any other questions or thoughts on that? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Now the consent agenda, Jim. Any other questions? All right, do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda carries.
Under ordinances this evening, we have item 9A as a request to amend the City of Auburn Fire Code to require an engineer to prepare and sign a building's fire plans. A public hearing is required.
We'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council on this subject, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Seeing none, are there any questions? Comments? Lindsay?
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon,
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Posey,
Ma'am.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Item 9B is David and Judy Sharp requesting annexation of 6.4 acres located at 416 Lee Road 93. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended this item for approval.
No public hearing on this,
No
correct?
public hearing on this.
Okay. Sorry, Judge.
The ordinance and ask for unanimous consent. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? If not, are there any questions?
Yes. I understand the nearest city water line ends at Plainsman Hills. Is that correct? I mean, I know the water line does not go out to this particular property, but it does end at the intersection of Plainsman Hills. Is that right?
Well, it does, our Waterworks Board does indicate that it's not available, and I believe that is accurate. I believe that is where it stops, but I can certainly stand to be corrected by someone from that department.
Okay. Do the city manager or staff know of any plans by the Water Board to extend service beyond the current terminus?
I would imagine, I do not know of any plans at this time, but I would imagine that it would depend on two things. One is legally, depending on what our boundaries are, and I don't know those, but, and Eric is not here this evening. I don't believe anybody from water is here. We have certain court limitations that we cannot go beyond to serve. And then, obviously, if there is enough need in that area, if we're able to serve it, if we're allowed to serve it, then with enough need, we would extend service.
And so in this, in the text here, it says the applicant has signed a petition attesting that all services may not be available at the time of annexation.
Correct.
And it is contiguous on multiple sides of this property.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions?
So it says insurance rates and fire suppression activities could be affected. So as far as servicing it for an event of emergency, we'd have whatever water we carried with us, the fire department carried with us to the site.
Correct.
And then in order to replenish, they would have to go back to Plainsman Hills intersection, which I believe might be the nearest fire hydrant. Is that correct?
Likely, if that's the nearest fire, wherever the nearest fire hydrant is, that's where we'd go. Yeah.
Okay. And do we as a city take on a liability for providing fire protection for an area that we annex?
We do not.
The nearest fire station is almost, it says almost 9 miles away. So it says 11 minutes response time. Is that satisfactory as far as the emergency services staff is concerned?
That is what we inform the owner, that should they, as you read in the document, all of that is informed of the applicant, or to the applicant, that these are all the stipulations, and the applicant makes the decision as to whether they want to come in or not.
For us right now, there's a single home on this property.
Yes.
You know of any plans to try to develop this property?
I am not aware of any, no.
Any other questions? All right, Lindsay?
Dixon?
Yes.
Griswold?
No.
Hovey?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor?
No.
Witten?
Yes.
Dawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Anders?
Yes.
Under resolutions this evening, we have item 10A1 is Daniel Holland requesting conditional use approval for a multi-unit development on property located at 337 Airport Road. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended this item for approval, and a public hearing is required.
We'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council on this subject, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Are there any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10A2 is Perry Solom requesting conditional use approval for a climate-controlled storage unit development on property located at 2357 East Glen Avenue. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended this item for approval, and a public hearing is required.
We'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
Yes. I noticed the staff recommended denial, and yet the Planning Commission recommended approval.
Yes, sir.
And I was a little confused by some of the staff comments. In one case, it says the proposed conditional use is not in harmony with the future land use plan. And then the additional staff comment said the proposed use does not present any challenges to the character of the neighborhood. So
That's true.
would you please explain the staff's position on this, please?
I'd be glad to. The future land use designation in that area and for the subject property is gateway commercial, which because of its proximity to the Bent Creek interchange contemplates ideally hospitality type uses, gas stations, convenience stores, fast serve restaurants, many of which you currently see at that interchange. This parcel is very unique in that it is developmentally challenged, it's irregularly shaped, and it sits at the foot of a runway. As such, it is very, very restricted on what can go there, meaning what we call places of assembly, because it's in a runway protection zone. Places of assembly like churches, schools are prohibited at that location. So when we looked at it, essentially what we presented the Planning Commission was we recommend denial because it is in conflict with the future land use designation, but given the peculiar attributes of the property, the irregular shape, the location, and the configuration, we felt that that use was appropriate because I think that parcel is going to be hard pressed to have any other type of development on it, to be quite frank with you. The application was tabled. You should have two sets of elevations in your packet. One, which I'll call the less desirable version, is somewhat unusual. The second version, we worked with the applicant. The item was tabled at our request, and the applicant was very cooperative with the staff and came back in with a revised elevation, which is much improved, which is the elevation that you see with faux windows and brick and ephes. The concern of the staff is that it's such a long, there's actually 3 buildings, but it is very linear. And our biggest concern was the fact that that is a major, major, highly visible gateway into the city, certainly from the north or from the Atlanta metro. So we wanted to be very, very careful with how that property was treated.
Jim, what was the planning commission's thoughts or engineering's thoughts on the traffic with this? Would this create a lot of traffic, or would it be low intensity?
It's actually, that's the other aspect of it, is you've got that strange curvature, which is very speedway-like, in my opinion, and visibility's an issue, speed's an issue, and it's highly likely that any type of use, like a restaurant, would probably be unsuccessful at that location. Self-storage facilities are very, very low traffic generators.
Is this going to need additional approval from the FAA?
The FAA will review this, yes, sir.
If we approve it tonight, it's still going to have to go to them for approval?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second.
I have one.
I'm sorry.
Your position is denial, right?
Staff recommendation was for denial, yes, sir.
And it continues to be so, even with the work that has been done, the back and forth, correct?
The staff recommendation is still denial based exclusively on that conflict with the future land use plan.
Mayor, we do want to make one, just a note just for Lindsay that we want to add Bob to the.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Jim. Okay. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Me.
All right. You want to do that by hands, or you got it? Okay. So five approved. Okay, so the motion carries. All right.
Item 10A3 is Brett Basquin requesting conditional use approval for an office use on property located at 1296 Weatherford Street. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended this item for approval, and a public hearing is required.
We'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Approval? Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, questions from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10A4 is Brett Basquin requesting conditional use approval for a restaurant with drive-through on property located at 326 West Magnolia Avenue. The Planning Commission recommended this item for approval, and a public hearing is required.
We'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council, please come forward with your name and address for the record.
Dana Camp, 142 Plainsman Hills Lane, Auburn. Chick-fil-A down on Magnolia. They're redoing the building. The whole property behind there is being redone. With this, there is entrance on Toomers. Toomers is a one-way street going north. In order, therefore, to enter the entrance to Chick-fil-A, you will have to come off of Magnolia. If you're traveling east on Magnolia, you'll have to turn left onto Thomas, I think it is. And if you're turning, if you're going west, you'll have to turn right. The exit is on Magnolia, out of the stacked drive-through of Chick-fil-A, right in front of where there is a pedestrian walkway to the entrance of the university for the College of Engineering and all of its complex. That exit is actually about, according to the drawings, 113 feet from Thomas, which is where you're going to turn to enter the Chick-fil-A. Seems to me that, okay, if the entrance is going to be on Thomas, the exit should have been on Toomers to kind of separate where people are trying to get in and go to Thomas to get into Chick-fil-A, then 112 feet where they're exiting from there. I know they're going to stack it, and this is supposed to take care of no backups on Magnolia. And I believe one of the planning commissioners, even as one of the conditions for saying yes, was that Chick-fil-A is to provide, if there is a backup, a traffic problem, they are to provide some traffic control officer out there at their expense. But I just need y'all to think about that.
The comment on the traffic control is correct, and that was actually an additional condition of approval from the Planning Commission, and that's reflected in their resolution. It's in your packet.
Thank you, Forrest. Save your question.
Good evening. My name is Travis R. Wisdom. I'm legal counsel for the Crib Corporation. Crib Corporation is located at P.O. Box 3049, Opelika, Alabama 36830. The Crib Corporation's primary business is the ownership, operation, and maintenance of Subway restaurants. Before I go any further, Brett, can you take that Chick-fil-A glass off the... Wouldn't want, for television purposes, improperly influence anything. Thank you.
That's great.
I mean, no offense to Chick-fil-A, just even's even. Okay.
Sorry, Travis.
No problem. The Crib Corporation owns adjacent property to Chick-fil-A in this instance. And we all know that Chick-fil-A is wildly successful and packs a drive-through about 4 times a day. But what's happening here is a rerouting of traffic that actually, and I don't know if Forrest can put maps on your screens or if we do the pull down, but it's a rerouting of traffic that is going to now encircle my client's business. My client has 2 entrances to its business. One is off Thomas, one is off Magnolia. The way the traffic flow is being rerouted by Mr. Basquin will now, at peak times, block both of those entrances. So people will now stack up in front of the Subway entrance on Thomas, and then they'll exit and constantly cross in front of the entrance on Magnolia. It won't just be the Chick-fil-A customers. The development on top of Chick-fil-A will house 750 vehicle-owning students. So you're going to have 750 kids, all whom may or may not have a car at some point, plus all of Chick-fil-A's customers, and they're all being rerouted in a circle. It's almost as if it's a siege on the Crib Corporation. Now, I know that's not what they intended, but that may end up being the unintended result. So Section 803 of Auburn's zoning ordinance requires this council to do this: determine if the zoning requirements will be enough to mitigate the negative impacts to surrounding areas. Well, this doesn't mitigate any impact to the Crib Corporation. It causes a negative impact. It is the negative impact in and of itself. So if the council approves this plan as it's been designed by the Foresight Group, you're actually favoring Chick-fil-A and adversely harming a private business owned by the Crib Corporation. Now, this Subway happens to be either the #1 or #2 producing Subway in the whole state of Alabama. It does numbers that are unbelievable. So this is no small matter for the Crib Corporation. During peak times, the problem and the impact will be certainly negative for the Crib Corporation. Section 803 also says the council has to determine whether the proposal, or the proposed use would have a detrimental impact on neighboring properties. Absolutely. I mean, this is going to completely crush at certain times the Crib Corporation's operation of business. The real problem is the same times Chick-fil-A is operating at peak levels would be the same time the Crib Corporation and the Subway is trying to get their customers serviced. So it's a total interruption of one person's business in favor of another's. The Planning Commission noticed that there is going to be simply a moving of the traffic problem. Yes, it will alleviate Magnolia from some of this traffic, and Magnolia is, in fairness, the higher traffic counted street. But it is just moving that traffic problem over to Thomas. Unfortunately, my client's interest is off of Thomas. So it's going to be a problem. The Planning Commission noted this. They said, well, we'll put a condition on it. What's the condition? The condition is When Chick-fil-A feels that it's causing a problem to somebody else, they got to employ some security. But it's totally their decision. They decide when they're interrupting the Subway business. Nobody else has a say. And if the Crib Corporation says, well, they're not doing anything about it, this so-called condition is really, it's an unenforceable thing here. The result for the Crib Corporation would be to call the police. Now, because we let this kind of square peg in a round hole engineering go through, we've got to involve public safety. So the taxpayers of Auburn are now going to be put to expense to clear up a traffic mess that we could clear up right now. So what I'm saying to you today, council members, respectfully, is this engineering is a result of two things. One, the property owners failed to acquire the corner of Magnolia and Toomer Street, which is where the Chick-fil-A was going to move to. Two, they are rerouting the traffic around the opposite corner, which is a current business, Subway, that opted amicably not to sell to the developer. So now we're hurting a current business because they didn't want to sell. We're helping a local business that is willing to sell and move and cooperate. And it's all because the developer couldn't get the corner they really needed to move Chick-fil-A. So I'm asking you guys tonight to vote this down. And if you can't vote it down or find it in your hearts to vote it down, then I'd ask you to, at the very least, table it so that my client and I have the opportunity to meet with the developer and the engineers and see if we can solve this problem on our own. I'll leave you with this. There's not really any way to guess what is coming, but the rest of the space besides Chick-fil-A will also be retail. This will also increase the traffic that's coming into this parking deck, coming through the driveway of Chick-fil-A, coming into the parking deck from Thomas. We've got a real problem here, and I think that government does not need to be in the position where they're being asked to favor one business against another. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I do have a couple of questions. So Subway sits at the corner of Thomas and Magnolia
Yes.
on the east side or on the west side of, okay. So they're at that corner, okay, on the west side of Thomas.
Right.
Okay, and does Subway have a drive-through?
It does not.
Does not.
It's parking lot only.
Okay, and do you know what percentage of the volume of that location is driven by vehicle customers or by pedestrian customers?
Do we know that? I don't know that. Yeah. I can tell you this, the breakdown in negotiations over the purchase of the Crib Corporation's property was a failure for the new developer to want to give stationary parking. It was not going to, there would be no dedicated or promised parking. That's a problem that caused the Crib Corporation to turn down a very lucrative offer for 0.26 acres of land. But it's that important. And like I said, this is one of the highest producing subways in the state, if not the highest.
What's the age of that Subway?
The age of the building or the age of the lease, how long they've been
How
there?
long has Subway been in that building?
Come on up, Lewis, come on up. Let's be family up here, bud.
It was originally a Pizza Hut. Of course, we remodeled it when we built it, and then just 4 years ago, the planning department approved a nice new porch on the front, and we remodeled the outside. We redid the parking lot.
Who's been in the neighborhood longer, Subway or Chick-fil-A?
Oh, we have.
Subway has. The Chick-fil-A building is, it's not, I think 1992. It was originally something and then it became Milo's. So, and look, I understand it's a tight space. Chick-fil-A has room and area constraints, but nobody made them choose that small space. I mean, that was a voluntary business decision by Chick-fil-A. No problem, but it's Now they're asking the city to help alleviate their private problem at the expense of this man's private business.
Has your business been negatively impacted by traffic on Magnolia currently by Chick-fil-A?
Well, not so much, because there's a turn lane. So, and that's a good point, Brett. I need to bring this up. So what the city's going to do, and maybe Forrest can confirm this, the city's going to strip the middle lane with a median. So when you now come out of Chick-fil-A, you can't go left. You have to pass his store. You have to. And if Thomas backs up, okay, imagine this. I'll do it this way so you can see. So if Thomas backs up here, and here's Magnolia, then when you come out of the Chick-fil-A, you're hitting that last car's bumper, and you're stopping, and you can't go around now in the turn lane because that's gone. There's a median. So you've now just circled the wagons around Subway. Nobody's getting in, nobody's getting out. It's a problem. And it's just a square peg in a round hole engineering job.
And the only entrance to the subway is on Thomas.
No, there's one on Magnolia, but that's the one that'll be blocked when Thomas is blocked. So when they're backed up on Thomas, they'll stick out into Magnolia. Now the people coming out are just normal traffic. Will back up on Magnolia, and it's all blocked.
Why would they back up on Thomas?
If they have more than 32 cars.
They have more than 40 cars queued up at any one time? That's
Correct. Or people coming in and out of the parking deck for other reasons. As you know, it's not just going to be for Chick-fil-A.
The dumpster pad is also there
I know it's one.
for the, and deliveries. So that many people, there's gonna be a lot of dumpsters, I'm sure daily. So when the truck backs up or something else, that's gonna block them. That's another potential.
Other than this potential traffic problem, which I'm not downgrading, what are y'all's feelings towards 750 students living right there?
Well, I think that's potentially 750 customers. It's also potentially 750 traffic problems. I sort of like the madam's comments earlier about, why can't we circle through and come all the way out Toomer? I guess because of the position of Chick-fil-A, or maybe they can come in over on Toomer. The new retail businesses that are coming in are the developers. If they're adversely affected, he can give fair warning to those people before they come in. So the entrance could run that way. Now, that helps us a little bit. We get halfway there because now Thomas is open, but Magnolia's, that entrance will still be constantly crossed and blocked. So we still have an entrance on Magnolia, but because of this median that's going in, no one coming from, what's the sandwich shop up there? Mama Goldberg's can turn left into it. This development is eradicating a primary means of entrance to our entrance. So.
It's also dangerous right there where the traffic, when I go to pick up trash at the corner with the exited traffic coming out of Chick-fil-A, you better look.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Basquin, would you like to come forward? Is there anything you'd like to say, being the developer's representative?
Be happy to answer any questions, but just, in regards to the entrance.
Brett, could we just let you?
Yeah, Brett Basquin with the Foresight Group, 2128 Moores Mill Road, representing the developer on this. In regard to the entrance off of Thomas only, there's actually an entrance off of Toomer as well. So vehicles coming from Glen headed southbound towards Magnolia can turn into the Toomer driveway and cross across the parking lot and get into the drive-through, whether they're getting into the Chick-fil-A drive-through or whether they're just parking to come into this site. So, it isn't all traffic going into the Thomas entrance. The other one is, the talk about there's the crosswalk. The only way to exit on the Magnolia is the drive-through exit. There is an existing crosswalk. As part of this, we're working with, talking with engineering. They want to create this to be a raised crosswalk. They're also asking us to add a median in there to prevent that left turning movement, but that doesn't, it's not my understanding, unless Allison is thinking different, but the median's not going to extend across their driveway and block their driveway that's right next to Thomas. I think they have a driveway on Magnolia right next to Thomas that's about 25 feet from the intersection. It's very close there, but I'm not aware unless Allison, the median was going to stop pretty close to the end of our property on Magnolia. And so what that does happen is all the vehicles turning right, exiting as a right out only, that traffic won't be crossing where there's a crosswalk. You're reducing, if you had the left turning movement, those people could turn across the crosswalk, but they can't with them being right out because the crosswalk is to the left of the exiting driveway. If you're going to exit and you're turning right, the crosswalk's to your left, it doesn't cross it. The other thing is, in regards to the stacking up and the blocking of driveways, we've done an extensive traffic study. We've also accommodated the stacking for the Chick-fil-A on site. I think Mr. Cotton reiterated this, but in regards to the amount of stacking from this site, from where you pick up where the pickup window is now to where the order box is to where you order your food, there's just as much stacking there right now than the existing Chick-fil-A has now. The existing Chick-fil-A can only have 12 cars in the drive-through. The 13th vehicle is in Magnolia. All right, we have 36 just within our queue lanes that we're providing. You have to get over 40 cars in the stack, and that's unheard of cars going to be sitting in this location stacked back to before you even encroach any into Thomas, which is absurd to think that it's going to be that long. The total number of parking spaces on the existing Chick-fil-A site is 16 spaces. We're providing over 160 spaces for this commercial area, including Chick-fil-A. We're providing more than 3 times the amount of storage for cars in the queue lanes. The existing Chick-fil-A now is about, and I said this at Planning Commission, it's about 2,300 square feet. The kitchen of this new Chick-fil-A is 2,300 square feet. The limiting factor on this drive-through is not how many people they can physically serve, it's the amount of food they can produce. And so, over time, as you've seen, probably in your travels, Chick-fil-A has gone back and shut down and rebuilt kitchens into a more efficient. They've done that in Opelika. They've done it in East Chase. That's just 2 local ones that they've done, but they do them all the time. So it's usually getting you got to get the kitchen to keep up with the drive-through. With 36 spaces and the most up-to-date kitchen that they have, there's no reason to believe that cars are going to be stacking out and coming out of our development, more or less stacking up on to Thomas. Like I said, we've had an extensive traffic study. The intersections function, acceptable levels of service here on how this thing's going to be, on how people would enter and exit. I think that they were talking about the potential residential access. The access to that would be from Janelda. And that access would be to the 2nd level. There's no connection between the 1st and 2nd level. So the whole 1st floor parking lot is all commercial. So any resident would not be entering, exiting in these same commercial driveways. They're totally separated. I think we all realize the existing condition that's out there. I think it's been a known problem and a nuisance, I think, for everyone with cars stacking in Magnolia and blocking traffic and those types of things. But we feel like we've put together a plan where we can accommodate the drive-through on site. Most of the time, we can't accommodate this many people without it blocking some form of our internal parking system. That's different in this site. We're able to stack 36 cars without having outside of our normal circulation paths within our development. In regards to, I think, deliveries and those types of things, we have sufficient delivery space to have vehicles pull off and be off of the road to be delivering into this site. And, you know, I don't think that there's any issues or concerns there. But again, be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I've got one question. I'm looking at the map, and you mentioned that, you know, there's 36 to 40 cars that could be in the queue at any given time. Is there a way for someone to escape or leave the drive-through in case they had some sort of emergency?
Yes.
For whatever reason?
Yeah, there's bypass lane. All that striping area is flat. The separation between where the cars are stacking up and in the middle, that'll all be open. So it'll be, if somebody needs to get out, there's going to be available, like what we call a bailout lane, to get out of the line and get around.
Thank you.
And you're saying all first level parking will be for commercial space, not the residents above?
Correct. The first floor parking level will be at one level. Anything above that, right, if the parking garage, second floor and up, you'd only enter and exit off of Janelda for the residential, so there'll be no commingling of commercial traffic and residential traffic in this location.
Brett, Mr. Baskin, sorry, what is the other square footage of the commercial that's?
There's 7,500 square feet of other commercial space on the frontage there.
And you stated there's not any other access off of Magnolia except for the exit, which is a right turn only?
Right out only, yes ma'am.
Any other questions for Mr. Baskin?
What's the reason for putting the median there so someone couldn't turn left?
I think that's, you know, from the city's perspective, they don't want if you're waiting to turn left, you could potentially back up the drive-through, right? So even though right now it's signed for right turn only, it doesn't prevent somebody from turning left. Sometimes somebody waiting there to turn left, say in the lunch hour, you know, cars can be backed up waiting to turn left in there. So the person who's waiting to turn left is really just sitting there and backing up everything.
Yeah, the visibility's so bad to turn left, there's actually a mirror over on the side, so you can try to make sure nobody's coming, you know, from the east to west. Making a left out of there is ill-advised.
And it's just, and so, you know, when you're going right there, the immediate question was, well, everybody's going to be turning right to then go to Thomas. That's not necessarily true. If I was turning right out of there, depending on where I'm going, I can go up to Cox, which is just one more block up that's two-way, or I can go to Donahue to my signal if I so moved to go there. So it's not like everybody's going to be doing a U-turn when they're leaving the drive-through necessarily. You know, there's multiple ways to get north, and I think people will do that. So.
Have any plans to make Thomas or Toomer Street a two-way?
We did evaluate that as part of the comprehensive traffic study, so that's one of the recommendations. I keep forgetting. That was one of the recommendations from Skipper in the comprehensive traffic study, was to convert Thomas and Toomer to two-way. So that's something we'll be deciding in the near future.
I would guess, Jim, if this project were to move forward, that'd be something we'd probably consider sooner than later, I would think.
May I ask another question to Mr. Wisdom?
Right. Yes, I mean, yeah, right. But remember, tonight, all we're dealing with right now is the drive-through.
Since it was brought up.
But it's one big piece.
Right. Mr. Wisdom, before you speak, is there anyone else who has not spoken that would like to come forward?
I thought Councilman Witten had a question for me.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I was talking to Jim. Go ahead.
If Thomas Street were a two-way, would that be beneficial to the subway?
I don't know the answer to that right off. I think it would help some because it would give us another way for people to enter from Thomas Street. But again, if it's blocked, we're in trouble. I know Brett says it's absolutely absurd to think it would be blocked, but I myself have sat in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru at Tigertown. And when they're super busy, they direct you into the Verizon parking lot. This is at night when it's closed. And you loop around the building once to come back and get in the line. And there were at least 32 cars when I was in that line. That's over there. This is on campus where the basketball arena is, the baseball stadium is. I mean, I can see people leaving and it's like, all right, we're going to have a bonanza of Subway sandwiches sold. No, the guy at the council meeting said it'd be absurd to think that they'd block our parking lot. I guess these cars are imaginary. So it's just, it's one of these things again where if you approve it like it is, we're just stuck. And if they don't send traffic control out there, what recourse do I have? I got to put them in court. And that's silly. This could be designed better, and you could take into consideration a business that's been there longer and is a wildly successful business, pours in tax money to this city, and it's just not really fair to disadvantage them and benefit Chick-fil-A so that this development doesn't have to go back to engineering. Thank you.
Correct the record here, but in Opelika, Mr. Wisdom said that they could stack 32 cars. You can only stack in Opelika 22 cars. The problem with that site is getting off of it, is getting out. Basically getting out starts blocking and backing you up. But when you circle the building and you come back in the stack, you only can stack 22 cars on that site. And like I said, you're stacking 22, but you're stacking in the drive aisle for the people who are still parking and trying to back out of their spaces or people walking across. We're talking about 36 independent spaces that nobody has to walk across, nobody has to back out into, or nothing. You're just totally separated from the rest of the parking. And that's part of the whole design here, is trying to separate those two functions so that you don't have the commingling of people trying to back in and out like you do in the Opelika and quite frankly in the existing store. So.
I think that's why we were in the
Mr. Baskin. Mr. Baskin. Brett, if we were to table this tonight, do you think it's possible y'all could come to some sort of agreement?
I mean, look, we're willing to work and work with them as best we can, but, we've been trying to work with them for over a year, and we're still at this point of that. I don't think that we'll come to a mutually agreeable solution in regards to them. Kind of the time's passed. We got to kind of move forward. So
thank you.
That's why we.
Anyone else? Is anyone that hasn't spoken that would like to speak? Okay. Yes, sir.
That's not correct, over a year.
If you'd come forward, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you'd also give us your name and address for the record.
Louis Cribb, the Cribb Corporation Subway. We've been talking to them less than 6 months.
I need your address, please.
P.O. Box 3049, Opelika, Alabama.
Thank you.
That's our office. So our address is, we have the other Subways in Auburn and have been here for 34 years. So that's not correct what he said, a year. It's 6 months or less.
Okay. Thank you for correcting that. Yes, sir. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Andy Barfield. We are the company that has assembled the land. And in fact, we met with Mr. Cribb on July 6th of 2018.
Your address, Mr. Barfield?
It's 3300 Cumberland Boulevard, Atlanta, Georgia. Sure. And we have put tremendous thought into this process. And I know Mr. Wisdom thinks otherwise, but Brett and his team has been fantastic. Chick-fil-A Inc. has been fantastic. And we think that we have solved a major problem that's out there right now. If you look at the traffic flow, and I honestly believe that Mr. Cribb is going to appreciate what we're doing, is The majority of the traffic flow that's causing an issue for people, his customers, to get to his store is the current configuration. If you're only got 13 people in the backup in the lane, West Mag, as you've all seen, we've all experienced, backs all the way up to Toomer Street. We have essentially solved that problem. And so we think that, again, working with the city and Forrest and his staff, the ability that there's 800 pedestrians crossing that every hour from 10 to 2, we have created a situation where there's no commingling of cars. That's a major safety issue, I agree. And so right now, with the scenario that we've got, all those cars turn right. They all turn right. And so we're improving the crosswalk. We're making a point to create as pedestrian-friendly as possible, and also to pull the cars off West Mag. And as it was pointed out, all the residential cars would flow off Janelda. They have north access off of Thomas Street. So I think that we've put a lot of thought into this, and so hopefully you guys understand that. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I do have a question, I guess, on,
Mayor. Just 1 second. Is there anyone else for the public hearing? That's no problem. I'm going to close the public hearing. Yes, Dave.
I have a question, I guess, on, what's the street? It's not identified right here. Thomas, sorry, I didn't know that. Thomas, right now it is a one-way street. Is there a way that the city could place parking spots along the way to accommodate more parking spaces for possibly the subway client and that area? Does that make sense?
I didn't understand the question.
On Thomas Street, it's a one-way street, right? So cars will be traveling. Can there be parking spots striped along Thomas for cars to park there? Because that's on the same corner where the subway is, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, there are a couple of issues. I guess the answer would be, I don't know. We would have to see if allowing parking there would maybe narrow it too much. I don't know. I don't think so. But as you heard, there's also the possibility of it becoming a two-way street. Right. If that happens, I doubt there will be any room for parking.
Jim, will there be, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Bob. Go ahead, Bob.
Jim, would it be possible for Forrest to talk to us a little bit about the compatibility of this, what is going to be an increasingly walkable area, a denser area, and that with drive-through type businesses?
Sure. We allow the drive-through by conditional use approval, which is why this is before you. One of the things that we've dealt with and talked a lot about as the downtown master plan was being developed is what we call urban format drive-throughs, meaning what we really want to avoid is the open air, big squawk box in the middle of the parking lot. There are urban format drive-throughs in many areas, and I point to a CVS pharmacy on Main Street in Greenville, South Carolina, that functions very similarly, where you go, immediately the traffic's not as high, but it's a prescription pickup window and it's entirely covered by the garage. So I think what you have to do is kind of envision this. You don't have a vertical view. You don't have elevations of the building yet because they're not quite ready. So you're kind of looking at you're having to make a three-dimensional decision with a one-dimensional site plan, which doesn't probably show you as much as ideally you would see to most thoroughly evaluate this. But this is without question, from my department's perspective, a significant improvement over a scenario that has a current situation that has been just a real mess for a number of years. And as you know, Chick-fil-A gets increasingly popular. I remember when the backup on Mag was during traditional meal hours. Now the backup on Magnolia is the entire time Chick-fil-A is open. And I don't think there's any question that to be able to queue 40 cars on private property is huge. It's absolutely huge. In my opinion, this will be an improvement over what's there, no question.
You good, Bob? Beth?
I can save my question for another time. It's not relevant to this conditional use.
Okay, all right. Anybody else? Yes, Ken.
So the conditional use is simply because this is a road service use in a zone that has to have.
Yes, sir. Because it has a drive-through, it requires
That's the sole thing that we're really supposed to consider.
That's correct. In fact, this is as you can see, this is just a small component of a significant redevelopment, but based on the zoning regulations as I understand them, and based on this project as I understand it, this may be the only public approval that's required for this development.
Okay. And is there currently parking on Thomas? There is, just not striped, is that correct? Even though it's a one-way street?
I don't know. Do you know?
There is some parking.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And when I first saw this, I was very optimistic that it would solve some problems, but the more I studied it, I'm not convinced that it really will. I don't know about the car count, but I know I live near downtown and it's frequently backed up all the way up to College Street. And that's a combination of McDonald's and Domino's and Chick-fil-A and perhaps Subway too. I'm not sure who all generates all that, but I really don't see this as a solution to that problem overall. I mean, it addresses a portion of it, which is the Chick-fil-A clientele, but not the overall problem. So I would have to agree with Mr. Wisdom that we would be favoring a long-term Auburn entity in favor of another to provide them a drive-through capability. I love Chick-fil-A and they have great food, but I don't see that we should be giving them a significant advantage at the expense of another firm.
Is there an anticipated capacity increase at the location? Is that something that's the Chick-fil-A location?
Well, the restaurant and the sit-down area will be larger as far as the square footage for that.
That would have, but that would be more parking related.
Right.
Yes.
The other thing I think that's significant is looking at the parking that has been designated exclusively for the retail component of the development, which is that entire first floor.
But my question is to see, I think everyone agrees that it's problematic right now, that Magnolia is problematic in front of the Chick-fil-A, and it's probably causing frustration to Subway as it is right now, during peak times. And so the idea here is we've got a 14-car, I think Brett said a 14-car stack up now, and we're looking at a 35-car stack up.
I think Brett said you can fit 12 on the private property currently. The 13th will be sticking out in Magnolia.
So that would be a 3-time increase in stack up. So I'm just wondering if there's an anticipated 3 times amount of business, because it seems like we would have a net positive if we're going to have a stack, unless they anticipate them, and I'm sure they would like to. I'm sure every business would like to have a 3-time uptake in revenue, but I understand what you're saying, Forrest, that this seems to be a net positive for the area to pull those cars off of Magnolia and to stack them up on private property.
I think that's huge.
Okay. Anybody else with any questions or comments?
Well, I agree with Forrest. It's been a problem down there. And serious accidents down there when I was in my previous position. And I've been looking for a solution, wanting to have a solution to it for years now. So I appreciate Forrest's comments, and I tend to agree with Forrest.
Anyone else? Okay, so this is a resolution, so we'll take a motion. So have we had a motion and a second?
Yep, I'll move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
All right, let's do hands. We're going to do hands. All right. All in favor, please raise your hand. Is that 6? Opposed? 3. Okay.
Item 10A5 is the Industrial Development Board requesting conditional use approval for a manufacturing use in the industrial zone in the industrial zoning district on property located south of Beehive Road and on the east side of West Tech Lane. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended this item for approval, and a public hearing is required.
We'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any questions? Concerns? All right. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, those are all of the items we have on the agenda this evening.
Ms. Taylor, I believe you had a question earlier that you were going to ask. This would be an appropriate time.
It was answered.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. All right. At this time is the Citizens Open Forum. This is your opportunity to address the council about anything you would like. Please come forward and give your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes.
Oh, hold up. I was going to ask a question about the Chick-fil-A thing, but I did have a question about this form right here. I forgot about that.
All right. Well,
I'm sorry.
that's fine. Go ahead, Connie.
Okay, I wanted to know on this capital improvement plan, and I'm looking at, I think it was the Northwest Auburn cleanup, and it was completed. I think in the last meeting, I asked for a list of areas that was addressed during that cleanup, but I never got that list of areas, and it's not on this plan.
Correct. I just recently got that. Did I send that to council, or I have not sent that to council yet? If I just recently got the list at the last council meeting. Mr. Woody said that we were working on that, and Mr. Woody did give that to me, and I will send that to the council if I have not already done so.
No, you haven't, but thank you.
Okay.
Good. All right. Anything else, Connie?
That's it.
Okay. Citizen Open Forum. If you'd like to address the council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes.
Bishop A.L. Dowdell, 618 Howard Street. Mayor, I would like to ask, are we still working on a council manager form of government?
We are.
The council manager form of government, that form of government says that the sole power lies within this council. And it also states that the mayor only has 1 vote, and he is a ceremonial mayor, which means that he would do all the ceremonies that comes into the city. Under the council manager form of government, the city manager runs the city, and that no council member can give orders to any subordinates of the city manager. There are 2 positions that the city council appoint. When I came home from Detroit in 1990 and ran for city council, it says that the city council must appoint the city manager, and the city manager works at the discretion of the council. This council also appoint the judge, the municipal judge, and that judge answers to this city council. The mayor has 1 vote, and he's considered as a city councilman at large. Each and every one of these council members have the same power as the mayor, 1 vote. The city attorney has no authority whatsoever under the council manager form of government to threaten or to say that he can put any of these council members in jail. That power does not allow that city attorney to do so. The city attorney must answer to the city manager. But this council, the 2 of you, when there come a legal problem, 2 of you can ask that for the Attorney General to make his recommendation on any ethical problems that happen in this council. The city attorney has no right and no authority to call a meeting and quote the ethical law to this council manager form of government. I said, when I was on the council, I served 16, almost 20 years. And I said this, and I said tonight, that this is the most archaic city council in the whole state of Alabama, because we got 9 voting members. This is not a metropolitan city. We don't have 100,000 members in this city. And we, with the NAACP, planning on filing something in the federal courts to downsize this council when it comes time for redistricting. But the city attorney does not have the right to threaten or to say, and Mayor, you should know this, Ron, you and I served before any of these city council members. He does not have the right to threaten the city council, and I know I'm suspending rules and say this, and I'm gonna sit down. The city manager answers to each and every one of these council members, and the council member have
Wrap
a
it up,
right,
Mr.
has a
Dowdell.
right, Don, Ron, you know this, to
I know
inquire
that.
of any member.
It's your pastime.
Do your inquiry, find you have a right.
Anyone else? Okay. Have a move to adjourn?
So moved.